We also work with players. The problem is players get tired and aren't perfect at hitting the golf ball. The robot doesn't get tired. The robot runs somewhere between 8 to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we send a lot of shots on this robot, way more than we could get with any person, and definitely way more accurate. And the robot never complains. Every morning we have the range to ourselves. So from 5 a.m. in the morning till like 8:30, we get the whole range to ourselves. So we get to test all our golf balls. The important thing here is obviously having a robot's great. A lot of people, like you mentioned, have robots, like know who Gene is. This is the industry standard for testing golf equipment as far as a robot goes. But what's not the industry standard and what kind of sets us apart is what we have downrange. So if you guys want to come look, we have these TrackMan units set up downrange. And so in total, we have 5 TrackMan units. Each one has 2 radars in it. So we have an array of 10 radars. And they're kind of for me, so they're all aimed right here at us. And so we have all 10 radars that we're using, and it's a modification of TrackMan's range product and their PGA Tour product. So we kind of got the best of both worlds and put them all right here. Effectively, what that means is we have the most accurate range of any place in the world, to the point that TrackMan will call us and ask us to try stuff here while they're still building their range. So we are the standard as far as tracking golf balls. To give you an idea, we do that several hundred times every single day. So it's a well-used robot. Here you can see we actually saw where the ball went. You can see where it landed, and it landed in the same spot on our kind of visualization here, which is really helpful. But the important part too is how it's getting that distance. It's not just, hey, we're getting there, but how are we getting there in different shots? We want to give the golfer the most control and the most consistency when they're hitting the ball. So having a system like this allows us to measure where the ball is at each point in time. Every 100th of a second, we know where the ball is at within 8 inches. That's something that no one else can do. But also we know, hey, when it's at its very peak, we know exactly how fast it's going, how much it's spinning when it's at peak, not just how high it went, which also tells us, hey, how's it gonna land? What's our landing angle? What's our spin at landing? All of that to help determine, hey, is this ball gonna stop on the green like we'd want with like a 7-iron, or are we gonna get rollout like we'd like with a driver? And just getting us a little more data than anyone else has to kind of fine tune exactly what our golf ball does, or each of our balls, as we make different dimple patterns and flight properties for each ball. Tour players have these preferences that sometimes don't make the most sense to us right away. But when we go out there and pursue, like, hey, why do they like it to do this? Can we replicate what they want? Or can we change their ball flight to be what they want without having to change a club? We learn more things that are helpful for consumers. And so one thing we learn, like some players want the ball to keep moving, like to keep cutting. Like Colin wants to play a big cut and just see it keep moving. Other players want to see the ball go up and then just come straight down and not get any movement once it hits apex. Some players who you struggle with moving the ball too much, some people call that a slice, we'll say moving the ball too much. If you have a dimple pattern that helps you kind of control that, using like what we learned from tour players and then still helps us apply that to every golfer. The other thing we can do is not only measure like, these awesome tour players' swings, but we also will set the robot up to average people's swings. What we want is to be able to test golf balls the way we, for the consumers that will use them. And so if you look over there, that bag of clubs over there, we have, I think, 25 clubs. We do 30 plus different robot swings by default, plus any custom player ones we want to run. Those 30 swings are to simulate anyone from, Rory's driver all the way down to like my grandfather's driver, right? So obviously for like 5.5x, we spend a little more of our time testing with better golfers. And then for Speed Soft, we spend a little more with, higher handicap, lower swing speed golfers. In order to make sure we're consistent in knowing exactly the performance characteristics, we keep the balls at the exact same temperature for every test. That's something that is very industry standard. Like the USGA does that. So like when they're doing all of their testing, it's always at the same temperature. That's just to make it consistent and give it a level playing field. So I've been here like 5 years now, and I've been around the row the whole time. We've never had a shank. As close as one can be to perfect, but not perfect. But no cold shanks.